How I started 511 with just $16. Crazy. $16. Yes. This is the story time. So if you want to know how I started 511 with just $16, 25,000 naira actually, and now we are here. Stay to the end, okay? But before I say anything, I'd like you to follow, like, and subscribe. In fact, share to your friends, okay? But before I say anything, I want to say something. So if you're watching this and you've been following me since Edible Crunch days, now Edible Crunch was my baking business before I went into cosmetic chemistry. So if you've been following me since those days, you need to leave a comment below. It means you're an OG. Just leave a comment. Just leave anything. Just say yes. In fact, leave a comment. I'd like to see you guys, your comments, okay? Because this was the foundation to starting 511 Skin. This was how I started cosmetic chemistry through baking. Now, in 2019, it was lockdown. I had all my friends together in my house, my sister as well. And during that period, no one was working. So I was just baking. I was bored, so I started baking. Now, if you know me very well, if you've been following me for some time now, you know that I always talk about how bored I get. Like how I get bored easily, and I don't really like that. I love to do things. I always like to work. I can't stay still. It's really hard to like keep me in one place. I love my mind working on things. So COVID was a really challenging time for me. So I told myself, you know what? I need to do something for myself. Like I need to find something to do. I can't just sit in this house being bored. And I had all my friends together in one house. So I went on YouTube and I started baking. I started baking like banana bread, yes, for my friends. And then I went on YouTube. I was like, okay, let me make candy today. Let me make chocolate cake today. So I'll go on YouTube, I'll learn different things, I'll bake for my friends, would all eat, would laugh. And and it kept on going like that. Before I knew it, my friends started recommending their friends to me for my banana cake, my banana bread at that point in time. And I was like, are you serious? Is this now a business? Like, what's happening here? So I remember selling this to these people and they kept coming back. Those days on Snapchat, I kept selling. They kept coming back asking for more on Snapchat. I kept selling. I was like, is this now a business? What's happening? So during COVID, whilst people were indoors, I was just there making money and selling bread. It was so funny, but like, yeah, that's what I did. So I got into it fully until one day somebody texted me and said, one of my friend recommended me and said they wanted a birthday cake. And I was like, birthday cake? I just bake breads and little things. And besides, I'm not even baking for sale, I'm baking for my friends. Why do you want to buy my cake? And it was so funny because I was like, I don't know what to do. But then I said, no, it's a challenge and I'm going to accept the challenge. One thing about me is I love a challenge. I love things that will challenge me. I love things that will keep me on my toes. I love things that it's crazy. I don't know if this is a masculine energy, but I love it. I love things that will make me feel good about myself. And I do that by doing difficult things, challenging things. So when she said that to me, I was like, okay, you know what? Let's get this done. So I had my friend Grace, EK, my sister Tari. So we baked this cake and we're all decorating, trying to decorate this cake. It was so funny. I'll look for a video. I'll see if I can find the video. And so I made this cake. I sent it, and she was like, "Oh, she liked the cake." Before I knew it, more orders started coming in. I was like, "What? Am I now baking cakes to sell?" But I was like, "Okay, you know what? Why not? I should start the cake business." So this is why I say if you're following Edible Crunch days, you're an OG. So I started baking the cakes, and before I knew it, I started making mind blowing crafts. Cakes were not just cakes anymore. It was more like an art. I started making amazing designs. I don't think anybody in Ghana could make my type of cake or were making my type of cakes because it was all out creativity. It was crazy. And I priced the cake so high that I don't know, like I was like, see, this thing is stressful. So if I'm going to do it, I'm going to price it. I priced it so high and people did not even care about the price. It just kept coming and coming and coming. And I was making good money. You see, the problem with the business was that I did not start it as a business. I started with like friends and family, right? And so therefore, I did not put money into the business. There was no initial capital, there was no investment, and there's no structure. So I wasn't accounting for anything. And so what I did was once someone make an order and they make payment, I use their money to like buy ingredients and make the cake. So that was what I was doing. So I wasn't seeing the profit, I wasn't seeing the money. Although the money was coming in, others were coming in. I don't even think I paid for an ad like that. I think I paid for an ad just once or twice, but like people just kept coming, kept recommending me. I got a deal with UMB Bank as well. I made a cake for them. Like it was crazy, it was good. But I did not like the cake. I did not like doing the business. I just love the fact that I was creating something. I just love the fact that I was creating amazing design. I just love the fact that I was making art. And at that point in time, I hated cakes. I did not even eat cakes. So it was crazy. So when I would bake the cakes, I'll give my friends to taste it if it's good. So when the government lifted up the ban, I was like, no, I'm not gonna bake this cake anymore. I don't like this business. Like I don't like it. And I remember everyone, my friends, my family members, everybody was so mad at me that I gave up. I left the cake. I stopped the business. And I've been trying to explain to people, but nobody understood me. I was trying to explain to them that I don't like what I'm doing. I don't have passion for it. I'm creative. I'm the most creative person you would ever come across. Okay. I am creative. I'm good with my hands. I know that. But I don't like what I'm doing. I don't have passion for it. If I continue doing this thing, I'll give up. And then I remember a friend of mine telling me, um, why don't you use the money? Why don't you continue baking? Use the money you've made from baking and invest it into your cosmetic line. Because I left the baking to start the cosmetic business, but I stopped it completely. Now, I was trying to explain to them that I can't focus on two things at the same time. For me to succeed, I need to focus on one. I need to focus on the one I love. Like, I need to be 100% in if I'm going to succeed. I don't like to do this and do this and do this. I'm not good with that. I'm not even good with multitasking. If I'm focusing on one thing, I'm focusing on that thing until I achieve a result. That's me. So 2019, I quit the baking and I went into cosmetic chemistry. Now, the beginning of cosmetic chemistry. The reason why I started with the baking story was because I felt like God led me to this cosmetic level, this cosmetic chemistry route, because all the equipment I had whilst I was baking, I used them in cosmetic chemistry. It was crazy. I don't know how, but like it felt like the mixers, those things, the thermometer, whatsoever, I used them because at that point in time I was starting and I was like, okay, you know what? Let me use my mixer, let me use my stick blender, let me use, the minor equipment. So that was what I used for my baking, for my cosmetic chemistry. So when I stopped the business, now mind you, before going into baking, I'd already thought about going into skincare, cosmetic chemistry, right? I thought about it for a very long time. I remember sometime in 2016 or 2017, I used to use this product called Fair and White, and I would just like hold the bottle in my hand, and I'll be like, in my head, I'll be imagining influencing for Fair and White. I'll be like, oh my god, this product is so nice. It's so I have the videos on my phone. I'll try and see if I can fish those videos out. I remember holding the videos. Sorry, I remember holding the container in my hand, and I'll be like imagining myself influencing. I even imagine myself becoming Fair and White ambassador because I've used the product since I was 13 years old. So I've always wanted to go into skincare. I did not just know how. So during in between those years, I was doing different things to like distract myself or like maybe make money or something like that. But deep down in my heart, I've always wanted to go into cosmetic chemistry. So 2018, I paid for a cosmetic class. This was not a school, it was just a lady that owns a skincare brand and she was selling. And what she was doing was pro-mixing at that point in time. I paid for the class because I did not have any knowledge. I was like, where do I start? So when I saw it later, I was like, okay, good. Let me have a foundation. I think this is the first. I think that class was about 150,000 naira in 2018 and I got scammed. She kept saying, oh, the next month. It got to 2019, the next month. I just gave up. In 2019, June, I just gave up. I was like, at this point, I don't think this lady would actually teach me. So that was COVID came and then I went into baking. I was like, okay, you know what? Let's start baking. I started baking. So after COVID ended, when they lifted the lockdown, I was like, okay, I don't like this thing. I don't like baking. I don't enjoy it. I'm just creative. I don't enjoy it. So I'm going to stop. So I stopped and I was like, I need to find another school to learn cosmetic chemistry because I've been seeing my sister. My sister suffered battled with acne for over five years, if not 7 years, for a very long time. And I remember there was a day There was a day I asked her to come out with me and my friends, and she said to me, like, she doesn't feel like going out. She doesn't think she's in the right state of mind to go out. And I knew she was saying that because her skin was very bad. Like, it was very, very bad. And I felt that. I felt that. Since that day, I've been asking myself, what do I do to help? I've never told her this like in person, how that word like touched me, you know. Since that day, like, it's so painful, like seeing your loved one suffer. It was crazy. It felt like I could feel her pain. And ever since she said that to me, I just had it in my head that I'm going to find a way. I don't know how I'm going to start the skincare business, but I'm going to find a way to do something to help this girl. 2019, I started looking for cosmetic schools again, not until I found this lady online. She was also a cosmetic chemist, but she went to school in London and then she was just trying to pass on her knowledge. And she was like, oh, our cost was just $16. That was 25,000 naira. At that point in time, I was like, you know what, I'm going to pay. I just want a foundation. I did not even care that I forgot about the fact that I was even scammed the first time. This time I was like, I don't care. I'm going to pay for the course. So I paid was 25,000 naira. I paid for the course, and the first thing she thought was black soap. Okay, but her course was actually good. Like, it had the scientific background, it had everything. But I knew I needed more. If I was going to become a scientist and do what I want to do, I needed more. So I paid for her course, and the first thing I made was a black soap. I remember the first formulation I did was a black soap. I remember taking a picture, and the day I started with the black soap, I said to myself that this is the first day I'm starting, right? One day I'll come back to this picture and show the world how I started. I remember saying this to myself when I took that picture. I'm going to upload the picture right here. So that was how I started formulating. When I started, I was like, okay, you know what, this is good, but I want to be a scientist. I want to be a cosmetic chemist. I don't want to do pro mixing. I don't want to do the things that everybody's doing because to me it's easy and there's nothing to that. That's not who I want to be. I want to be known. And one thing about me is I love to study. You know, I love knowledge. I love to learn new things. So I said to myself, I'm not gonna. This is not what I want to do. If I want to help my sister, I want to know the thing down to the core. I want to understand what I'm doing. I want to be able to explain this product in front of people and tell them what it truly is, you know. So I kept on searching for more schools, like good schools. I remember for a whole year, I texted everybody I could find on Instagram. I texted celebrities, I texted influencers, I texted brand owners, I texted everybody for a whole year. I was like, please show me who taught you this thing. I don't mind paying for the information. I don't mind paying you to tell me who your supplier is. I'll pay you to tell me who your formulator is, who's your tutor, what school did you go to, how did you learn this thing? I texted so many people, but God being so kind, I texted this very big brand and she responded. She was the one that said, oh, sure, this is the school I went to. And it was a school based in the UK. And that was the beginning. That was the beginning of my cosmetic chemistry journey. That was the day I made a decision that changed my life forever. That was the day I was like, yes, once I'm done with this school, I'm a scientist. I can do everything. I can do anything.